So how did Penny Appeal start? What's the story of Penny Appeal? Where was the first Penny Appeal? How did you get the idea? Where did it all start from?
So this is something that I've put a lot of time and thought into, and obviously during lockdown, we all had a lot of time to kind of distill our thoughts and I guess discover the purpose of what we're doing here because it was a very, very scary time. And I was very, very fortunate because our team was still working hard during lockdown, more locally, but also internationally as well. And we wrote a book called Penny Peel, Small Change, Big Difference. And it's a Penny Peel story. And really it was quite emotionally draining because as humans, and I know from listening to you, and I know from hearing about you as well, you're very, very fast paced. You're in the fast lane. You're driving. It's just like go, 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 go all the time. And that's what we do, I guess. We're just very, very driven, and we just want. We've got that purpose, and we see that purpose, and we drive towards it. And when we fulfill that, we go to the next, and the next, and the next. We don't really stop to take a break and look back and say, okay, why have I ended up here? But I guess my journey started even before I knew that I was on a journey, and that was when I was 6 years old. At the time, we had a very normal family. My grandfather, my nana, he was in the Indian Army, but then he went to the British Army, and he traveled all around the world, and he landed in the UK as an economic migrant. And in the UK, I guess like hundreds of thousands of other Pakistanis that have traveled around the world. He settled there, and because of the economy, because of just the way that the government is and the benefits, settled there with his family, brought his sons and daughters over. My mum married in the UK, and we had a normal family life there. Sadly, at the age of 6, I lost my father to bowel cancer, and I guess that's when my life took a bit of a turn that I didn't even realize that this was happening at the time. Allah is the best of planners, and alhamdulillah, that's something that was, at that time, you can imagine now that that must have been a very, very stressful time for my family, especially my mother, who had three of us to look after. But my mum was very, very brave, and she didn't let us feel any different. And she was like, I'm your mother, but I'm also your father. And she did everything possible and more to really make us not miss out on anything, not miss out on school, not miss out on school trips. She learned how to drive. She started her own business as a seamstress, and went on to selling designer and Asian clothes. And we had a retail shop as well in Wakefield on the high street. And yeah, she's my role model, I guess, the first business person that I knew, the most kind of savvy business person, really, someone who's really, ethically very, solid, kind of like there for the right reasons, and still is a valued member of the community every time, especially in the females, the women of the community, whenever there's a need, whenever there's a dispute, whenever there's any kind of challenges, mum's there, mum gets called upon. When there's a funeral, mum gets called, and I see that, and it's like, it's amazing. So I guess that was what I saw, and that was what my world was. And as a child, you don't know. If you live in a palace, you live in a palace. That's your world. If you live as a pauper in a mud hut, that's your world. So that's just what God gives you, and that's what you accept. So that I went on to setting up my own business because I thought, why not? This seems the way to go about things. The mum's done it, uh, and so whilst I was at university, to fund my university, I set up a small design agency, and then that's where business started, singlemuslim.com.
Hmm.
Uh, and I guess singlemuslim.com, sorry if I've kind of like,
No, it's good because because I think your what we wanted to hear was your journey, and this
okay,
is your journey.
then
So
we're
yeah, go
we're on
on
the
and tell
we're
us.
on,
I mean, that's what the podcast is about, to learn about you and your journey. So I think that this is excellent.
we're on the journey. We're on the journey. Um, so yeah, at the age of 18, 19, mum pulled me over and she said, right, Adeem, um, time to get married, and have you got anybody? And I was in shock. I was like, have I got anybody? What do you mean, have I got anybody? I said, all my life you've been saying to me, girlfriends is haram, allowed to have a girlfriend, you're not allowed to go near girls, you're not allowed to talk to girls. Now I'm 18, you're saying to me, have I got a girlfriend? No, I haven't got a girlfriend. She said, well, that's okay. If you don't have anybody, it's fine. We can go to Pakistan and we'll get you married off to your chacha's daughter or somebody of that in Pakistan. I was like, oh man, how can I get married to my cousin, my first cousin? Because I don't, because we're a weird mix of Pakistani, traditional Pakistani and kind of Pakistani culture because our parents were born in Pakistan and then we're kind of first or second generation, whatever you want to call it, in the UK. Our mindsets are, even though we've lived that, our mindset is this also. So yes, we need to get married. Yes, we need to understand relationships, but we also don't want to do things that we feel are not very Western.
Mm.
So the Western mindset is, yes, we accept the fact that my parents were both cousins, my grandfather and his wife, my grandmother, obviously, they were cousins, families, that's normal. It's normal. Do I want that for myself? Possibly not, and certainly didn't want that at that time.
I can completely relate to it.
So I said to my mom,
Exactly the same.
I'd rather not. She says, no, you need to get married, so you have to get married. And I was like, okay. She says, well, you better find somebody. I'm scratching my head thinking, where am I possibly gonna find somebody like small town like Wakefield, finish my university off as well. So now there's no connectivity there. I've started work, set my own business up, and it's like, okay. So as I'm going through a massive challenge, as you know, I'm sure you can empathize with this, as you are now with your
Completely.
business. Your head and your focus is on your business. Um, but when I go home, mum's got photographs on the mantelpiece of like girls from Pakistan that she wants me to marry. But Adeem, I'm going to be very happy and I want you to marry somebody. And they look after me as well. I'll have a little bit of company at home. I said, okay, mum, let me think about something. So I went back to the office and I said to the team at the office and Steve, who was the lead developer, I said, Steve, we need to design a website. Please don't judge me on this yet. There's desperate, and I was very, very desperate at the time. So
This is
there's,
so good. It was like your thing was driven by your own, your own need. And I mean, it's a remarkable story, by the way. Yeah.
so what they said, the necessity is the mother of all
All
invention.
invention,
And
exactly.
my mother